Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. The Shiite Islamist movement, Escalating, has begun operating in Gaza with full Iranian sponsorship. Escalating runs several Shiite charity organizations supported by Iran to encourage the spread of Shiite Islam. The Sunni Hamas movement apparently tolerates its presence due to the financial support it receives from Shiite Iran. While Hamas has been unable to pay most of its civil servants their normal wages, it receives money from Iran to pay its military personnel. The village of Muhayyabib looks like a typical southern Lebanese village, a cluster of 90 houses and buildings, punctuated by the minaret of a mosque. But when the Israeli military focuses its sights on that Shiite village, close to the border, it sees 9 arms depots, 5 rocket launching sites, 4 infantry positions, signs of 3 underground tunnels, 3 anti-tank positions, and a Hezbollah command post in the center of the village. Maps and aerial photography provided to the New York Times by Israeli military officials illustrate that Hezbollah has moved most of its military infrastructure into the Shiite villages of southern Lebanon. Israel says this amounts to using the civilians as a human shield. But when the next war breaks out, Israel will not hesitate to strike at those targets. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's deputy representative to the Revolutionary Guards, that is, Mojtaba Zolnur, was cited in Iranian media last week as saying, "The government of the Islamic Republic of Iran has divine permission to destroy Israel. The noble Quran permits the Islamic Republic of Iran to destroy Israel." Close quote. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu cited these statements on Wednesday at a ceremony in the Knesset, marking the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. Turning to wars and rumors of wars, Wednesday, May 13th, the Vatican announced a treaty which reaffirms Palestinian statehood. Palestinians said the accord addresses such matters as properties, taxes, and protocol at holy sites. Back in 2012, the Vatican recognized the so-called State of Palestine, and that was shortly after the UN granted Palestine non-member observer status. PLO spokesman Xavier Abu Aid said, quote, "There's nothing new here in terms of the recognition of Palestine, which was given to us a few years ago by the Holy See." That's S-E-E. What is new is we are going to sign an agreement with the Vatican. Now, in case you didn't know what the Holy See is, that's Holy S-E-E. It's the ecclesiastical jurisdiction of the Catholic Church in Rome. Also on Wednesday, the Islamic State's number 2 leader, Abu Ala al-Afri, was killed in a coalition airstrike which struck northern Iraq's Tal Afar city. Then on Thursday, May 14th, General Masoud Jazarieri, the Iranian Deputy Chief of Staff, warned the U.S. not to stop an aid ship from Iran heading to Yemen, saying that doing so would spark a fire. Iranian officials maintain that the ship is carrying food, medicine, rescue workers, and peace activists, But U.S. Army Colonel Steve Warren said American forces are keeping an eye on the ship anyway. The fact is, if Iran wants to deliver humanitarian aid, it should coordinate such efforts through the United Nations. It was reported by a senior Israeli intelligence official on Thursday that Egypt is buying Russia's advanced S-300 air defense system. And an Egyptian official stated that Israel should not feel threatened. He said, quote, "If we are getting such a thing, it's because we're looking east toward Iran, not north toward Israel." Things are certainly ramping up at a faster pace, my friends. Saudi Arabia and many of the smaller Arab states are now vowing to match whatever nuclear enrichment capability Iran is permitted to retain. One Arab leader, Saudi intelligence chief Prince Turki bin Faisal, said, quote, "We can't sit back and be nowhere as Iran is allowed to retain much of its capability and amass its research. Whatever the Iranians have, we will have too." Close quote. It's widely presumed that Pakistan would provide Saudi Arabia with nuclear technology, if not a weapon itself, since the Saudis financed much of the work done by Pakistani nuclear scientist A.Q. Khan. A huge explosion at a training camp for Hamas militants in Beit Lahia in northern Gaza wounded more than 60 people, including women and children, on Thursday evening. Muhammad Arfa'aya, 22 of Hebron, confessed to ramming his vehicle into a bus stop outside Alon Shvut in the West Bank on Thursday, leaving 4 young Israelis injured. He crossed the highway with great force and struck a group of students who were waiting for a bus. Then on Saturday, May 16th, at least 32 Islamic State members, including 4 of its leaders, were killed in airstrikes and a U.S. Special Forces raid in eastern Syria. The U.S. Special Operations Force came away with laptops, phones, and documents that could prove valuable in efforts to disrupt the Islamic State's ability to raise funds. Then on Sunday, May 17th, the last Iraqi security forces fled Ramadi as the city fell to the Islamic State, whose militants ransacked the provincial military headquarters, seizing a large store of weapons and killing people loyal to the government. The fall of Ramadi represents the biggest victory so far this year for ISIS. One Iraqi soldier who had been stationed at the Anbar Operations Command headquarters said the forces had left behind, get this, a huge cache of weapons recently sent by Baghdad, including rocket-propelled grenades and heavy machine guns supplied by both Russia and the United States. I'm telling you, what really goes on, we really don't have much of a clue about. Further, the ISIS commander Abu Sayyaf fought capture and was killed in the raid. According to intelligence from reliable sources, Hezbollah is building forces and acquiring weapons to threaten Israeli Defense Force forces at sea. The IDF is preparing for scenarios involving frogmen, jet skis, speedboats, unmanned boats, booby-trapped boats, and even kamikaze UAVs. One Hezbollah fighter said, "We who defeated the Israelis will also defeat the terrorists, and we will take Jerusalem." Our world is quickly coming to a climax in every way, shape, and form, my friends. Unlike anything anyone has ever imagined, it's ramping up and it's speeding up, especially as of late. America has become a country of people who no longer have any rights whatsoever. The Constitution of the United States of America, thanks to Barack Hussein Obama, as of 2012, has become completely null and void. If you're an American and you're unaware of this fact, you really need to take a fresh look at things. You can be arrested for no reason at all and have no right to an attorney. And you can also be judged in a court of law with no right to a jury of your own peers, among many other things. The list goes on and on. The rights of Americans are gone. The Constitution burnt to a crisp. Operation Jade Helm 15 will be a curious event to watch for Americans this summer. Might not really amount to much, but in the fall, coming to a close of the Shemitah and the beginning of a new Shemitah in September, along with the last of the blood moon tetrad and a lot of other prophecies that are really coming to an apex, things are looking awfully interesting. I was talking with someone this past weekend whose name and rank will remain undisclosed, but someone who is certainly in the know. And this person told me that even in the state of New Jersey, law enforcement is ready to go into full-blown martial law at a moment's notice. This person also said, "I'll tell you two things which I say to everyone. Number one, have a meeting with your extended family members. Get everyone together and pick a residence where everyone will meet and continue to live all together if martial law should go into effect. And number two, if martial law should go into effect, just do what you are told." And probably good advice because, like I just said, all Americans' rights are out the window. We don't have any rights anymore. It's, not very obvious, A lot of people think everything is just as it always has been. But if martial law should go into effect and somebody gets argumentative with the military and law enforcement, they're going to find out really quickly how little rights they have and how much freedom law enforcement and the military have with anyone's life. This person elaborated to me saying that the big concern in America is terrorism. Terrorists have been coming into the country through various methods, and local law officials are very concerned about biological warfare, such as poisoning our water supplies. Now, going back to the Middle East, over 2/3 of Iran's cities and towns are on the verge of a water crisis that could result in drinking water shortages, and already thousands of villages depend on water tankers. Much of the Middle East is running out of water due to population growth, short-sighted dictators, distorted economic incentives, and infrastructure-destroying warfare. In Gaza, seawater intrusion and the leakage of sewage has made 95% of the coastal aquifer unfit for human consumption. And in Syria, between 2002 and 2008, water resources dropped by half, as did grain output, causing 250,000 farmers to abandon their land. Hundreds of villages have been abandoned as farmlands turn to desert and grazing animals die off. Things are shifting. However, all of that being said, look at the contrast. In Israel, thanks to Elohim's providence, we see a combination of conservation, recycling, innovative agricultural techniques, and high-tech desalination techniques, and Israel has all the water it needs. Israel can desalinate about 17 liters of water at the cost of 1 U.S. penny. Just as prophesied, the Jews have returned to their homeland, and their homeland is one of great prosperity. Look at Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 35. Quote, "And they shall say, this land that was desolate has become like the Garden of Eden, and the waste and desolate and ruined cities are fortified and inhabited." Hallelujah! That prophecy is fulfilled. And that is the newscast for this week, my friends. Ava willing, I'll see you here again next week. And until then, stay safe and shalom.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath the naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.